Radio Command's Talk Today.
If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
And good afternoon, Radio Cayman Nation, and a very, very happy New Year and a happy Tuesday. Thank you for tuning into your station of the nation, Radio Cayman. I'm Ray Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, who will be back in the saddle next Monday. We probably all feel the same way right now. Where did the time go? 2023 is gone. 2024 is here. And Talk Today is back on the air. On today's show, we'll be recapping some of the developments with the RCIPS from last year, from December, and from the New Year's weekend. And then later in the show, sitting down with Mr. Jason J.G. Gilbert about his new music school. And then we have obviously some open line later on the show. And as always, we do welcome your stories, feedback, and questions, and invite you to join the conversation. Simply dial 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp us at 925-3261. Back with more Talk Today after this short disclaimer.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Live Communication.
Let your voice be heard.
Radio Command's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And please have on the line joining us from the RCIPS, Miss Jodi-Ann Powery. Miss Jodi-Ann, Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you. Can you hear me fine?
I can hear you just fine. How are you doing? How was your weekend? How's your New Year's going?
It was very good. Thank you. I apologize for having to call in.
No, it's quite all right. As long as you're here with us, whether you're here by phone or here in person, we still enjoy your company either way.
Thank you so much.
So how was your weekend? How was your personally overall the weekend? Was the New Year's as fulfilling as it was January 2, second day of the year, New Year's resolutions? Anything you want to share? I'm not letting that go. You thought I forgot.
Yes, I know where you're going with that there, Raymond. No, it's always good to set goals at the beginning of the year to try to accomplish what needs to be accomplished by the end of the year.
Yes.
One of the major things for me, getting older, I kind of have to pay even closer attention to health and fitness and wellness.
Sure.
So that's one of the things that I'll be focusing on. I used to box when I was in high school, and I think that is something that I was considering getting back into because I don't do very well with regular gym memberships.
Sure.
They usually just stick around for the year. I use them a couple of times for the year and waste my money for the rest of it.
You're not alone.
Yeah, so sports is a better way for me to stay fit. It always has been. So that's one of the things that I'm considering, and I know that you have an interest in that as well.
Yeah, no, good for you though. And to anyone who's making any kind of resolutions on self-improvement, whether it's education, fitness, whatever it might be. Good on you on getting on the way with it, right? It's one of those things you recognize there is a need for it, and you're making whatever steps you need to make to do so.
Yes, definitely.
No, hey, funny enough, we were supposed to have, we tried to get him on last week, but scheduling created some issues on the last week of the year because boxing you're not alone in that the gym isn't for everybody. The gym is for some individuals who find that to be a good avenue, but sports or some different element that incorporates fitness and excitement is, for many, the way to go. So good on you, though.
Thank you.
All right. So now to like the meat of our conversation, looking into, I know the RCIPS had their road safety campaign that they've been coordinating. But for those listeners who weren't listening to the show on Friday for whatever reason, can you give us a quick rundown of what some of the goals were of? Because if I remember correctly, you had 3 E's or 4 E's.
Well, the National Road Safety Strategy has the 4 E's. What we had was, and that's a joint collaborative initiative that should be becoming a little bit more public as the weeks go by.
Okay.
However, what we had going on over the holidays, and by we, I mean the RCIPS, is Operation Winter Guardian, which actually concludes today. Mm-hmm. And that is an all-around safety operation. It focused on high visibility for the police to improve public confidence and awareness that the police is around, and hopefully deter crime. In my opinion, I think that the operation did what the aim was. We concluded the year with what I thought was minimal major incidents throughout the month. No fatal accidents for the month of December.
It's a win either way, yes.
Yeah. So that being said, I definitely think that proves it's very difficult for us to prove successes where prevention is concerned.
Sure.
But I think that alone speaks for itself.
No, I think that's if you can say, given how real fatalities have been over the past several years, that you had a December where it was nil, that's a big win. Now, I appreciate the stats, the month-to-month stats may not be readily available.
No, not yet.
Yeah, so would you, by quarter-wise, would you be able to offer any kind of, outside of the successes of the no fatalities, Winter Garden?
We haven't been able to provide stats for the year so far because we recently just changed our analysts. Nick and Emma, who were former analysts, they went home, and we've recently hired a new one. So we're still getting our ducks in a row where that is concerned. So we haven't been offering, because I don't want to put something out there that may or may not be. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Okay,
but what I can say is that, throughout the year, what we've done is we've looked at what was trending and trending in terms of were burglaries up. And if that is the case, then that means that where prevention is concerned, do we need to place more officers in our communities to do high visibility patrols, that kind of thing, to set up neighborhood watches? Does the community policing unit, does that need to, do we need to task them with specific things for prevention? Or if it was robberies that were up, then does it mean that we need to put on crime prevention workshop for our businesses? Several things like that have gone on throughout the years, and our community policing unit had played a very important role in those taskings throughout the year.
Thank you for that. I mean, that was going to segue to the next part. We're looking at, outside of, we can look at vehicular crime, but there's obviously far more than that. There's, as you mentioned, the burglaries or robberies, as it might be. Was there any, and I appreciate, again, the stats are not readily available, but how were the burglaries as far as December 1? I know I was reading a couple of headlines where there were burglaries, and this time of year, you're going to see a increase.
Usually over the month of December, there are increases in burglaries because there are, there's a unwritten understanding that, there are Christmas gifts, people are, it's a high consumer month. And so it's very, easy for persons to be targeted in that way. And so we do find that burglaries go up over Christmas unfortunately. And what we've done is we've done a media campaign in collaboration with Everything 345, which is a popular social media page, and it has a wide following in terms of younger people as well as older persons. So I think that assisted with getting the message out there about how to go about being safe over the holidays, and that included messages such as, making sure that if you do place your presents under the Christmas tree, that your tree isn't where it can be seen from the outside, for instance.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
In your presents under the tree until the night before. To just kind of make yourself a smaller target.
That's the crime preventative strategy that any individual can take, right? How do you reduce your risk of becoming the next victim?
Right, because crime is everybody's concern, and we all have a part to play.
Very true words. And then as far as you mentioned business workshop for robberies, you say there's a potential to undertake that educational campaign this year?
Yeah, so throughout the year and at the request of the businesses, and I think there is a general understanding out there, but one of the things that our community policing unit does is they put on crime prevention workshop for businesses, and those include security companies to kind of discuss with security officers who are at these establishments about the protocols and what to do next and that kind of thing. But also for like storekeepers and shop owners and that kind of stuff. So we've been to places like the gas stations and the insurance companies and so on. And we've discussed, ways in which you can make yourself smaller targets for crime by increasing your security measures, such as, using magnetic doors, making sure that your CCTV not just points at, for instance, your cash registers, but also all your entrances and exits.
Sure.
And different crime prevention tips such as those. And, if any business out there is interested in that type of thing for the new year, you can contact the Georgetown Police Station and ask for the community policing unit.
That's fantastic. And I'll get you some information on that towards the end of the segment. Jodi-Ann, if you can stick with us on the line, we have to go to our 12:30 break. We come back as we want to re-explore some of the events from this past weekend and look towards your goals for first quarter of 2024 already.
Sure.
Back with more talk today, right after this.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Jingle all the way into the season of incredible savings and wish granting with Digicel. This Christmas, get 25% off your Prime Bundle plan or postpaid bill for the next 6 months. With plans featuring social data, entertainment data, and more, Digicel keeps you connected and entertained all season long. But here's the real magic. Digicel could make your Christmas wish come true. Win a prize of your choice, from getting your rent paid to a new laptop or even a brand new car. Visit a Digicel store today, where dreams come true this holiday season.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skin care, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
How can you make a classic BLT sandwich even better? Well, by adding tuna. Wow. The land meets the sea in Subway's new sandwich, the Tuna BLT, available for a limited time. The Tuna BLT is exploding with flavor. Imagine crispy, juicy bacon strips on top of tuna, fresh lettuce, and slices of tomato, topped with your favorite sauce and choice of freshly baked bread. Enjoy the best of both worlds with the Tuna BLT from Subway. Subway, eat fresh.
Listening to the general public.
The Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Because
there are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman Talk
waiting to take your calls right now.
Radio Cayman Talk Today.
What the public is saying.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. Very pleased to be hosting our first show of 2024, and pleased to have on the line Miss Jodi-Ann Powery from the RCIPS, discussing some updates from 2023 and some road safety goals for 2024. Miss Jodi-Ann, thanks again for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so you are the media officer for the RCIPS, correct?
Yes, I'm the police media officer.
Police media officer, okay. So I want to make sure I get the title correct here. So looking ahead into January, I appreciate we kind of talk about three kind of pillars of whether road safety, burglaries, and robberies, and there's more to the community policing aspect that goes into the role of the RCIPS. But looking towards 2024, January, February, March, can you walk us through maybe any of the road safety campaigns or safety campaigns? I know you mentioned some of the traffic law potential changes coming or up in the works right now.
Law is being reviewed right now. Traffic Act, is being reviewed right now, and with consideration for several things, such as, for instance, the electric bikes and scooters and stuff that are, when the law was, first established, those things were not a consideration because they hadn't existed as yet. So those are some of the things that are being amended, amongst other things. So we're looking at, and I'm hoping that before the end of this year, maybe that will come to fruition. However, it takes as long as it takes, and it is what it is.
It is what it is, fair enough. And so by that, I mean, as far as legislation on those bikes, whether it's registration of the vehicles, whatever it might be.
Right.
Okay.
So, it's just to cover them a little bit better than they are covered now, in terms of safety and as well as registration and
Sure.
what to do in the event of an accident, for instance.
Sure. Which is
But throughout the year, road safety will be a priority for the police. It always has been, but from the East to West community meetings that we had with the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Walton, we've come to realize that it is also the community's priority. It's one of the things that was mentioned at every single district meeting that we had. Road safety and how the roads are being used, speeding especially, was a concern, especially in the Eastern District, but all around. And so throughout the year, we'll always have educational campaigns where road safety is concerned, but also operational campaigns. So just because Operation Winter Guardian is finished now, it doesn't mean that means that the presence of the police will decrease. It may seem as if it decreases a little bit because a lot of our back offices were closed down to assist with Operation Winter Guardian. However, we will still make every effort to make sure that our presence is known.
Well, that's important. I think especially if you have those high traffic areas where you have speeding being a known factor and you have those hot spots around the island, that extra presence, I'm sure, is very appreciated, especially in the smaller communities or even any communities where whether it's burglaries or speeding or traffic issues, I'm sure there's appreciation for having a greater police presence rather.
Sure.
It's an interesting one. When you discuss the speeding element, because it's one of those areas that kind of I touched on it because, well, I touched on it last week because you see it on a regular basis, whether it's how they approach roundabouts, and I appreciate the comment the other day that every roundabout has its own issues, but there's situation where people are supposed to be yielding when they approach these roundabouts,
right?
Versus flying through it. And it's just a thought that actually crossed my head not too long ago when I went in my head. And not just in Cayman, but in many countries, place a significant, and rightfully so, a significant penal issue where someone is drinking and driving or under the influence of alcohol, they risk losing their license. Or whatever it might be. Whereas we tend to approach speeding a little, not much, but a little less, where there's fines and the progressive route to losing your license. And in my head I went, that person's actually fully cognizant, knowing fully well that they're operating the more...
You can actually lose your license for speeding.
You can, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, if you've been found to have doubled the speed limit and in certain areas, it's not very difficult to do that.
Sure, yeah.
Or if the ticket amounts to more than our maximum fine, which is $500 per ticket, then you would be sent to court, at which time you'd be very much likely to have lost your license for speeding.
Yeah.
But particularly in our school zones, during the school zone hours, which is very, very, very clearly illuminated thanks to the NRA lights and signs and all of that.
Sure, yeah.
In the school areas, those are 15 miles per hour during that illuminated area.
Yep.
And time. And so it is not very difficult for somebody to double the speed limit, at which time, yes, you would be put before the magistrate. And I can guarantee you that very little leniency will be given to somebody that is speeding in the school zone, because that is a risk to children.
Absolutely, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
And I think every parent out there is listening, going, hopefully that's the deterrent we need, right? We need some form of deterrent, whether it's education as well as.
Well, I mean, okay, so very often you'll see the officers in the different school zones, whether it be in the morning or in the evening.
Yep.
So I'm not really sure if it is that it's not a known fact that you do lose your license for speeding in the speed zones, or if it's just like negligence and people don't really care about that fine. Because I mean, if I were to lose my license, it would affect my livelihood.
Yeah,
so,
your life, your whole life gets thrown out of whack, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe that's the campaign, the don't want to lose your license campaign.
I mean, I guess you have to appeal to anything that affects people, whether it be the finances.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that the cost for a regular ticket is $20 per mile over the limit that you go. However, in the school zones, that's doubled, so it's $40.
Interesting.
Per.
Oh, is that how it's calculated? I actually never knew how it was calculated before. All right.
Yeah. So.
Interesting. Okay.
There is that, or if it is that you do something for a living like delivery driving, you need your driver's license in order to work.
Yeah, I know, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the maintenance trucks out there on a regular basis, and
people. But I'd like to think that the consideration for your own life and the life of others is also something to consider where safety is concerned in order not to speed.
Yeah, that multi-pronged approach where you have to have some community sense of care of your fellow man, and your own life at the end of the day, right?
Sure.
But no, I appreciate that. So as far as any other campaigns that we should be aware of that the RCIPS has coming up this year or in this quarter?
We will be partnering with the different agencies that are involved in the National Road Safety Strategy later on in the year.
Okay.
And obviously, in a couple of weeks, next week actually, I'll be on the business buzz to discuss recruitment for our special constabulary. So that is coming up, and if you are interested in becoming a special constable, then definitely tune into the business buzz next Thursday, where I'll be on with some of the senior officers of the special constabulary to discuss that aspect of things.
Okay. For those that don't know, what is the special constabulary? Again.
So the special constabulary is our volunteer service. So they're officers who actually are volunteers, and they go through a condensed version of our training, and they actually have all the powers of a police officer. The only difference is that they're not permanent staff. They are volunteers, so they don't get paid.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good to know. And is that open to both Caymanians and expatriate workers here in Cayman?
Yes, it is. It is open. Obviously, we would like to have as many Caymanians as possible.
Sure, of course.
But yeah, anyone can apply. I think there are certain qualifications, but I'm not privy to those at this time. So I'll let I'll let that be discussed next week.
Awesome. No, that's completely fine. So that's next. What day was that on? You're on the buzz?
Next Thursday. So we have a standing appointment at Radio Cayman on the business buzz every Thursday, every second Thursday of the month. So next Thursday will be that appearance.
Fantastic. Well, Miss Jodi-Ann, thank you for taking time. I know you're on vacation, but thanks for taking time to join us by phone today. And all the best with the New Year's resolutions, New Year's goals.
Thank you so much. And I'd just like to remind everybody that we go back to a sense of normalcy tomorrow. Please expect all the traffic in the world tomorrow, especially if you're coming from the Eastern District. So just be patient, leave out in good time, and be safe on our roads.
Thank you so much for that reminder. It is going to be a busy day tomorrow. Miss Jodi-Ann, thanks so much again, and all the best for the rest of your 2024.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Back with more talk today right after this break.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Jingle all the way into the season of incredible savings and wish granting with Digicel. This Christmas, get 25% off your Prime Bundle plan or postpaid bill for the next 6 months. With plans featuring social data, entertainment data, and more, Digicel keeps you connected and entertained all season long. But here's the real magic. Digicel could make your Christmas wish come true. Win a prize of your choice, from getting your rent paid to a new laptop or even a brand new car. Visit a Digicel store today, where dreams come true this holiday season.
Listening to the general public.
The Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Because
There are more questions than answers.
waiting to take your calls right now.
What the public is saying.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. We got about 10 minutes of open line before our 1 p.m. guest, and we're very pleased to have on today, after our 1 p.m. Headline news, Mr. Jason J.G. Gilbert here talking about his music school coming off of a very successful camp he ran last year. But we'll have him on from 1 to 2. And we'll also be featuring some of the songs from his camp last year, including Kids in K-Man, Fade Away, and Don't Test My Vibe. Those are 3 songs that, again, were produced by the students, by the kids in the camp. I believe, if I remember correctly, it was from ages 10 through 16 were the students. One of those programs where we discussed music briefly last week on the show, over the past few weeks, actually. And not a situation where I put it out there that government doesn't do that, because I do think government does a lot for our local artists. I mean, we look at all the programs that are available, whether they're partially sponsored by government or within the school programs. We had Jubilati featured last week. We have Cayman Arts Festival, which Radio Command is a big sponsor of. There are a number of musical endeavors from the community choir programs that were organized. We saw the choir competitions that was organized by the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Heritage, my apologies. In December, we've had national song competitions. There's a lot that government itself does for music. But the comment I made a few weeks back was about the community support for our local artists, whether it's attending local concerts, whether it's attending the various venues, purchasing tickets. A lot of times there's a desire for free entry to concerts that are organized or that are being performed by local artists. And I understand the desire to have the international artists attend here in Cayman. We'd like the big name artists to be on our shores. But there's sometimes an absence. We have some very talented musicians here in Cayman. We're from a small community, but we look like artists like Jason himself. And the number of artists that have gone off and there's so many, there's quite a few that have gone off. Last year alone, we had Swanky, who was performing both in the UK and in England. We see artists like Precious Shorty out in the UK. We've seen Knox. We've seen Stuart Wilson making the rounds internationally, and there's more. There's so many artists that have actually gone off, and those are just your mainstream music. When you start looking into the more classical styles, we have so much being offered. We heard the Jubilati program, which is looking at 90 youth students playing orchestra-style instruments. We have the Cayman Arts Festival doing very similar, so quite a bit. And so I'm really interested to hear how Jason Gilbert's new music school is going to be furthering that development of youth music in Cayman. I would love to hear your feedback on it. Open line is open throughout the show to offer your feedback, your thoughts, concerns about the local music scenes, especially when it comes to our kids. There's so much that they can learn from music, and in speaking with July last week, and this is no mystery to educators, that the power of music and how it shapes our brain, how it shapes our development and our understanding of information, we learn by song. And so such an important element to our educational programs are how we as a community, not government, not the schools, but how we as a community support and foster development of music. Last week, towards the end of our show, we were kind of running through a list of some of the major developments that have kind of taken place last year. And there's so much that happened in 2023. Probably the most notable here in Cayman was our change in government. That was a big notable change last year, right during our fourth quarter. But there were so many other issues or good that also happened for Cayman. We looked at the Cayman delisting from the gray list, which was a big deal. 2 Cayman footballers going professional, 1 for Cardiff City, 1 for the Colorado Rapids, 1 male, 1 female, like a nice balancing act. Robert Thompson Jr. winning Mr. America. Cayman hosting the Cayman Classic Tournament. And I brought up, almost in jest but not in jest as well, was just the comparative size difference was Mr. Arthur's in Georgetown getting the new crosswalk for Miss Filoni, and for the tourists to be able to cross that road safely, because it is a very high traffic road right on our waterfront, and that store has been there for quite a number of years. But we look towards 2024 now. That was last year. If we look ahead, 2024 has its own set of potential and its own set of challenges. Then Talk Today is that show that offers a vehicle for you to give us a call and talk about the challenges you see facing Cayman in the future. And I don't mean just the situations where you might have a gripe with a government department or a government official or a government overall, but because it's not just government that handles Cayman. We are a community where we have private sector, we have the people, we have how we manage our families, how we manage our finances, and it constantly seems like there's so many things that are pulling at each other, from how we continue to grow and develop as an economy. We look at development being one of our big elements. We look at world finance or our finance industries. We look at tourism. But there's more than that. There's the technological boom that is scarily growing. We have AI, which is, it's here, whether we like it or don't like it. Artificial intelligence and the use of these AI type engines and AI robots is on the way in. We look at education. What does that mean when it comes to how do we are we actually educating kids today for the future they're going to be living in 10 years? 10 years ago, we didn't have the iPad, or we did actually, 15 years ago, we didn't have the iPad. Now we look at how our education's changed, especially post-COVID, where the technology element to our education is far more robust than anybody my age or even 10 years younger than me grew up with. What does that mean for between AI's coming or AI being here, how it's going to evolve in the future, and where is Cayman in that conversation? Whether it be in our education, our workforce, Cayman being such a big part of the global economy, means very often that our businesses and our governments, to coin the Honorable Deputy Governor's phrase, being world class, is more pressing today probably because we're so far more connected to the whole world today. We look at, from our economic perspective, we see between rising interest rates, managing our households, food prices. Food security is always talked about as being a big ticket item globally, not just here in Cayman, but are we making sufficient strides forward when it comes to food security for the next 50 years, 100 years? We are seeing, and I mentioned this last week in the show, some of the elements that were put into place last year with regards to the hydroponic units by the Ministry of Agriculture and the DOA beef breeding program. But is that enough is the question, right? When we look at fisheries around the world, you look at some of the cost of, for example, salmon or any kind of fish you buy in the store, the sheer cost of that fish per pound, and compare to that to chicken or how we grow our chicken or the cost of beef. And that gets factored into how we run our homes. There's so much more that goes into this. But again, our lines are open this afternoon. I would love to hear from you on your thoughts on 2024, not just the scary doom and gloom outlook, but where do we see ourselves growing and developing? And I would love to just hear from you and what your thoughts are on 20. I know we're still very early in the year, but just like 2023 did, it's going to fly by very quickly. And it could be even your New Year's resolutions. I mean, ultimately, I think everything from our economic outlook, our environment, our education, I think everything actually starts at home, not out in the business world. And it starts with how you manage yourself. If everybody here in Cayman was living their best life, healthy, happy, working out, fitness minded, the whole 9 yards, would Cayman be a healthy, happier, better place as a direct result? And then the last query that I kind of put out there is on the tourism side. Global tourism is pretty much back in full swing following whatever happened in 2020 with COVID and 2021. And What does that mean for Cayman? We see issues already with beach erosion. We've seen the comments on social media about the state of some of our beaches. We see the increase in approval for 10-story development. Are we looking at the quote-unquote miniature concrete jungle popping up in the next 20 years? We see the resurgence of a discussion regarding the cruise port discussions. And what does, granted, a lot of this is in discussion stages, but we ultimately are focusing today on, one, getting through the day, getting through the week, but we're also planning for the future, 20, 50, 100 years from now. We've seen how the DART development, or DART and Commander Bay, have planned for their own town, and whether we like or don't like, or good or bad, how they've planned ahead and they've thought 50 to 100 years down the road for how their development is going to look and how it's going to grow. And should we look at the same, similar to the rest of Cayman and beyond? I heard one, we've seen that looks at developments of building from the shore into the water. We've seen so many other plans that have come through. And ultimately, it's not about a good or bad to this conversation. It is about how does this affect us, whether good or bad. And when we start looking at the balancing of our environment and the balancing of our tourism product, that is a national conversation that, unfortunately, a lot of times the loudest voices tend to have skin in the game somewhere. And it's a conversation that affects really everybody and all around. But on that note, so we're going to head to our 1 p.m. news in just a second. But reminder, when we get back, very pleased to have in the studio Mr. Jason J.G. Gilbert here to talk about his upcoming music school. And we'll also be featuring a few of his songs from last year's camp, including, these are all songs that were written by kids, sung by kids, and then later produced with the help Mr. Jason J.G. Gilbert. That's Kids in Cayman, Fade Away, and Don't Test My Vibe.
Radio Cayman.
The voice.
The heart. The soul of the Cayman Islands.
Information to the people. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
Brought to you by Health Services Authority.
I'm Jevi Ebanks with a look at your headlines. Anastasio Rankin, one of the RCIPS wanted men from late December who turned himself in, appeared in court today on burglary offenses. No details on the incidents are known, but Rankin is remanded in custody and is scheduled to appear tomorrow morning, where bail is expected to be considered. The second wanted man, Roland Welcome, whereabouts are still unknown, and the police is reminding the public that it is an offense to obstruct, mislead, or act in such a way as to prevent the apprehension of a person who has committed an offense, liable of a $5,000 fine, 2 years in prison, or both. In regional news, the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force has thanked citizens who have chosen to hand over illegal weapons, even before a national amnesty is announced. The authorities said 2 people handed over 4 firearms and 40 rounds of ammunition. They said the firearms surrendered are 1 Glock 22 pistol, 1 Glock 33 pistol, 1 .38 revolver, and 1 12-gauge shotgun. The ammunition was made up of 30 rounds of 9mm, 7 rounds of 40mm, and 3 rounds of 38mm, along with 2 magazines. The police reminds citizens that the maximum penalty for possessing an illegal firearm and ammunition is 7 years imprisonment or a fine of EC 20,000 or both in the magistrate's court. The Trinidad and Tobago government today ordered that the national flag be flown at half-mast on all state and non-state agencies and the country's diplomatic missions abroad in honor of the former Prime Minister Basdeo Panday, who died on Monday at the age of 90. The Ministry of National Security said that the flag would be flown at half-mast, beginning immediately as it extended its condolences on the passing of former Prime Minister Panday. Mr. Panday had a long and distinguished career as a trade unionist, a member of parliament, leader of the opposition, Minister of National Security, and Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. That's a look at your headlines. I'm Jevy Ebanks.
Radio Cayman. More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter. Radio Cayman Headline News.
Brought to you by Health Services Authority.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Born in Watering Place, Cayman on the 8th day of July, 1936. Captain Fred Elman Scott was the 5th child born to Nalio and Vera Scott. Captain Scott worked the seas for over 52 years, a career which saw him span the global currents. In 1953, he joined his first ship, the Beretta, a local cargo vessel, signing on as deck boy, working his way up to bosun. In 1955, he joined National Bulk Carriers, working his way up to able-bodied seaman. In 1959, he signed on the Ore Meteor to go to Marine School in New York, attaining a third mate's license. He joined the Bulk Petrel as third officer, where during one voyage he was solely responsible for using Morse lamp signaling to save a sister ship which had run aground. He continued to flourish and attained second mate, chief mate, master mariner, and radio operator licenses. In October of 1969, he took a job on oil exploration ships as a captain in Brazil. Captain Scott would later move from Brazil, where he spent the next 20 years piloting cruise ships and tankers in Grand Cayman.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
Representing Cayman, doing what we can. All of the prices high in demand. I can't even afford to buy land. We are the kids that live in Cayman. Representing Cayman, doing what we can. All of the prices high in demand. I can't even afford to buy land. We are the kids that live in Cayman.
Mama got me working at Foster's. Now I'm begging up the lobsters. Cause I got real bills. Can't afford Uncle Bill. Riding on the public bus. Trying to get to my destination. Burger King interviews. No vacations.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Ray Singh, filling in for Stilling Dwayne Ebanks. And I'm sure you've heard that song by now. That was Kids in Cayman, which came out last summer, courtesy of the man here in front of me, Jason J.G. Gilbert. Happy New Year. Welcome to Talk Today.
Happy New Year, Ray. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you coming in. So that was the Kids in Cayman song. I know one of the jokes was by Matt Brown. I heard Matt Brown say it went viral last year, and I went, can you really go viral in Cayman? But yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was popular enough, right? We had it going around. It was on the airwaves.
It was everywhere.
It was. And,
love that song.
So tell me a bit about Kids in Cayman before we actually get into because this might actually segue great into how your school is developing. Tell me how Kids in Cayman came about.
Kids in Cayman is a perfect example of kids' unfiltered, raw approach to creating music. And during the summer camp, I just gave them, free creativity just to see what they come up with. And they shocked me, man. That's what they wanted to talk about, and I just guided them.
You just guided them. And so, because I remember the summer camp last year. So let's chat a bit about the camp. It was a few weeks long. It was the Hopscotch Studios summer camp, right?
Yeah, Hopscotch Studios.
And so part of that camp, because I remember we discussed it briefly on air at one point, And see, the kids actually wrote the songs themselves.
Yeah.
How does that work though, as far as you in a room with? I've seen kids in a room. I mean, we say, okay, what's your idea? The ideas just start flying, right? And it's tough to like keep it all together into lyrics.
Yeah.
How does that work for you, like in that group setting?
Well, I look at songs, I mean, from my perspective, like a Lego kit, right? So I kind of started off the program telling the kids, like, you know, all the parts you need to create a song. So they knew they needed a verse, a chorus, you know what I mean? And they just worked on each part themselves, you know? And for that song in particular, I think they came up with the chorus together, and then they each kind of wrote their own parts.
Which I think that's a bit of fatherly pride on both our parts. So our kids for those who are both of our kids, all three of our kids are in that song, along with Miss Amber, who kind of led the charge. And I like Amber's style, right? She was like the quiet leader.
Yeah.
And like all the kids just followed her just naturally.
Yeah.
And so it was four of them: Amber, Jonas, Sage, and Phoenix.
And shout out to Duncan.
And Duncan. Sorry, no, we had Duncan in there as well. Amber.
Yeah, man, he was the hype man. He was hyping everyone.
He was the little brother. He's the one in the dance video that's breaking it down all the way, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'll have to share that song again somewhere, but because Duncan was really breaking it down in the video.
Yeah, man.
He's got some moves.
He brought the energy.
He did. He actually kept it up. I remember watching him dance it out with them, and you could see him in the back of the studio, and he was really, because he kept that energy flowing, right? But what were the ages of the camp that you had last year?
I think we went from 11 to 16.
Okay, so yeah, so I was right age bracket. And then, so with your new school that you're doing, walk us through, and we're going to talk a bit more about the school throughout this whole segment, but what is your school going to be focusing on? Similar kind of style as the camp?
Similar style as the camp, just a little more in depth.
How so?
During the camp, we had 5 days.
Yep.
To create those songs, and
which is amazing. 5 days. That's 5 days, right?
Yeah, man. It was. I look back at it, and it was truly a success because we got through the songs so fast.
Yeah.
You know,
the kids wanted to do it.
They wanted to do it, and I just kind of guided them along. So with the school now, the kids will be a lot more hands-on, because I mean. During the summer camp, I did a lot of like the heavy lifting, you know, like programming and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And so now that we have more time for like after school program, I can spread it out more and get more in depth on each thing, and then have the kids be actually more hands on, so that they can actually do the whole process themselves.
The whole process, yeah, the production part,
mixing.
Is that the goal? To get them to do the production, the mixing, everything.
Yeah, production, songwriting, mixing, mastering, and then parts of the courses via Zoom. And the reason why I did that is because for each topic I wanted to have like some of my professional friends who are in the business come in on the Zoom and help me teach as well too.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, so,
that's very cool.
You know, so kids can get like another perspective as well, and yeah.
You know, we were just talking about technology, like just briefly talk about how technology's changed so much from when you and I were kids. Like iPads went around, we didn't have that. We didn't have iPads, and we didn't have that easy access to create. Now we have AI, right? But Zoom and you have the ability to bring in professional musicians, who you've worked with in the professional circuit, into a call and guide K-Man students who that wouldn't have existed 5 years ago. We would not have been able to do that.
No, man.
You'd be spending thousands of dollars to fly them on the island to do it.
Exactly.
That's just tremendous how we could see that level of change. And I will say this because it's not a personal sales pitch for you, but it is something I saw very well personally. I've been involved with numerous sports camps. I've seen music schools. I've seen music camps, both from as a parental standpoint and from when I was in the sports industry and I was running camps myself and seeing other camps out there. I can honestly say, having seen, granted you were dealing with a smaller group. When I saw your camps over the summertime, you had smaller groups just by numbers wise. Mm-hmm. But the sheer energy that went into it, that you don't see at a lot of camps. And I've seen some big camps, some small camps. It's rare to see a week-long summer camp where a child is engaged on Monday at 9 o'clock and on Friday at 4 o'clock with the same level of enthusiasm. You don't see that very often in camps. And that I will say is a testament to you. So it's not a sales pitch for you, but it's something because I saw it firsthand. I can go, hold on. That song we just heard, those kids walked in on Monday morning at 9 o'clock, lost, like as terrified like any other kid would be at a camp, to walking out on a Friday afternoon, still as energized with a song.
At the radio station, promoting it.
Yeah, that's right. On that Friday afternoon, they're at the radio station. And I'm like, a week ago, these were probably 4. I can imagine any parent or their kid driving their kid to camp that first time. What are you going to do in camp? I don't know. What do you want to have happen? I don't know. And like, they don't really know. And then they come into it. And it was such a cool level to see that energy. Because that's what I think any teacher or counselor or coach is trying to do is give off that energy they have and have their pupils kind of like maximize and grow off it.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that in your camp. And I haven't
Thank
seen
you.
that in many camps. I will say hats off to you. The fact that my son was able to partake in it, I was thoroughly impressed at the end of that week. And I went, and I've never said, I don't say that often.
Appreciate it.
My son's teachers will tell you I'm the hardest guy in the world to deal with. But I really appreciate what you did for those kids. And it wasn't just that kids. I remember we went to there was a concert. You had a songwriters concert.
Yes.
Where the kids got to perform.
Yes.
And I remember seeing all the kids get up there and perform again in a bigger venue and still deliver with the same kind of enthusiasm and energy.
That was just amazing for me to see as well, you know, because that was my first year actually doing a summer camp. So the results for me, I work with grown-ups all the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And to see what the kids were able to come up with when you gave them just the free reign to just speak about what you want, create what you want, come up with your own cards, and to hear the actual quality that came out in the end, you know. I mean, for me, a lot of these songs are hits.
They are. I was listening to get to hear because the other two that we're going to play later on in the show have never been played on Radio Cayman. So it'll be the first time they're actually being aired on Radio Cayman. Kids in the Cayman was aired. I don't know how the song, it wasn't me because I won't actually do that as like for fear of conflict of interest because my son was in the song. I wouldn't have shared it. And one day we have a social media, like our WhatsApp group, and the song popped up there. I went, I know that kid. And then one of the announcers went, that's hot. And they put it on the air. And I went, okay, that works. And we're going to hear some of the other songs, Fade Away and Don't Test My Vibe are two of the other ones.
Yeah.
So now how many kids overall came through your camp last year? Because I want to segue that into your school and how many kids you're going to be able to have catered in the school. So how many kids were actually in your camp last year, roughly?
So summer camp, we had 12 kids.
Okay, and segmented into several different weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And some kids repeated. Some kids came for 3 weeks.
Sure.
Some kids came for 2.
Yeah. And then as far as the music school goes, one, how many kids are you anticipating catering into that?
Well, starting out, I'm looking to do 12 kids as well. Okay. And I was doing two groups of 6.
Okay.
And a few parents wrote in because I had it from ages 11 to 16.
Yep.
But I had a couple parents who wrote in saying, you know, their kid is 17, still in high school, very interested.
Yeah.
So then what I did, I broke it into 2 groups of 6 with 11 to 13 or 11 to 14.
Yep.
And then 15 to 17.
Okay. All right. So that actually makes probably a little better for them. You don't want the 17-year-old getting bored with the 11-year-old.
Yeah.
The 11-year-old not understanding any of the jokes that the 17-year-old is saying, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Now, when is the actual school going to be? It's an after-school program right now.
Yeah, it's an after-school program.
And when, where, how does, just the core details of where that program is going to be running?
So the first 2 weeks of every month is via Zoom, and that's like all the theory stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you'll have homework. Like for example, like the first week, chord progressions, because I mean, we all need chord progressions like to write songs, right?
Sure. So
I know a lot of kids. Some kids play instruments, some kids don't. So teaching kids basic chord progressions, because the whole thing of the course is it's called the songs program, right? Because at the end of it, you want to make songs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you'll learn everything from start to finish.
Yep.
You know, from writing the song, which starts with chords most times, then lyrics and arrangement,
yep.
then production, and then recording the song, and then mixing, mastering, promoting the song. You know what I mean? And then knowing some basic music business information, you know.
By music business information, you mean like how to like where to promote your music?
Promoting your music, and I mean basic music law as well too, right? You know what I mean? How to register your song,
Sure.
copyrights, splits, basic production agreements, like simplified.
Yeah, sure.
For kids, right? Because I mean, all of these things, I think, where a lot of people forget as well. I mean, making music is a creative process, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's also called the music business. So a lot of us, we make songs, but forget like the business part of it. So I think teaching kids proper music business etiquette from the start, along with the creative side of it.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get that.
Which you need it, right?
Yeah, you need that.
I think, and this is the thing I think parents need as well. Because especially we're talking about kids making music, right?
Mm-hmm.
But anybody, you're like, knowing what it is that you're actually getting, it's a complex business.
Yeah, it is.
And we've heard the stories from the 90s and the 2000s where the business got very ugly. And protecting your kids, protecting yourself, whatever it might be, you have to know that business. And I know Sona, that's just come to Cayman. They've just come to Cayman, is that correct?
Yeah, I think they just launched last year. That's when the kids got to perform as well.
Yeah. So yes, exactly.
That was in October?
That was sometime after last summer.
September, I think it was.
Okay. And that was, and what does SONA stand for? Is it
Songwriters of North America.
And so, granted, are you a member of SONA? Are you part of SONA? Or how was that affiliation for that?
I was just helping them out with the launch because I felt SONA, Songwriters of North America, is a songwriting advocacy. So they look out for songwriters.
The business side of it.
Yeah, the business side of it.
Looking out
and
for
they were a big part of fighting for the percentage raise.
Percentage raise.
So, for example, I think it was songwriters got like 10 cents or something like that, and they got it raised to like 12 or I can't remember the exact number.
Oh, for songwriters for writing music.
Yeah,
like they received the deals.
Yeah, the actual rate
gotcha.
that they got paid.
Gotcha.
So they were a big part of getting that raised through Congress. Because you remember with Spotify and all that kind of stuff, they were given like, I think it was like 10%, like a very small percentage went to songwriters.
Sure.
Which is, to me, I mean, that's a whole other thing, right? Because it's like, you wouldn't have the 100% to collect without the songwriters.
They were your baseline, right? They were
Exactly.
your back and bone, right?
And they were giving them the smallest part of it, of the whole thing. So Sona came in, and that's when Sona started, and they fought to get that percentage.
Get that percentage increased. And now we have a chapter here in Cayman.
Exactly.
Okay. And so, good for the industry.
Exactly.
It shows maturity, I think, of the industry itself. There's a lot of musicians in Cayman. I was saying before the segment, we have a lot of musicians here in Cayman.
A lot.
Different genres of music, different backgrounds, different schedules. We have some who are full-time musicians. We have musicians who are living overseas. Some who work corporate jobs in the daytime and play gigs at nighttime. There's so many people that are involved in this industry. And one of the comments I had made earlier was not the absence, but what I consider a general lack of support from the community for local musicians. And not from government side. I think government does a lot when it comes to supporting local music and how it's supported music throughout the ages. But how do you view the community support for musicians from all genres, from whether it's choruses in church to the venues at nighttime? We fly in artists on a regular basis and pay them top dollar for their services and then pay high ticket fees to go see them play. Whereas we have musicians here in Cayman. Do you feel there's enough support for musicians here? And that was a tough question because you're in the industry.
I think it's growing.
Okay.
It's getting better. Like, for example, I can't remember who it is. James Gary, for example.
Yes.
He posts a list of all
live music events.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see it every week. Yeah.
And before that, I had no idea, who was performing where, how many people were performing.
No, yeah, I see all that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, it's very cool.
So I had no idea. But if you look at that list,
it's a lot of venues.
a lot of venues and a lot of people are working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just seeing that list alone, signals to me that it's getting better, because it's like, you mean there's actually a community. It's getting a lot more organized.
Yeah.
And as things start to become more organized, it's easier to support. Because, for
Very
example,
true.
just the organization is seen where everyone is playing for the week. Before that, how could you support if you didn't really...
If you didn't know where
if
it
you
was,
didn't
right?
know,
You didn't know how to promote yourself. Musicians were still trying to get airtime. They're having to pay out their own pocket for commercials. So, having said that, you're probably right. For those who aren't aware, there's actually a Facebook group called K-Man Live Music.
K-Man Live Music.
That's where it actually gets posted. Yeah, no, that's where James posts the... Because I've seen the list, because we're a part of the group as well. And we got on for Phoenix to promote his music on there. And I saw the list, and I went, hold on. There's actually quite a few venues that are listed on there. Some of the artists are playing multiple venues a week.
Exactly.
But there's actually a tremendous number of venues on there. Some more tourist focused, some more local focused.
Mm-hmm.
And they're mixed. It's a diversity of genres of music. It's not just one type of genre you're out there.
Yeah, it's a lot, man. And
yeah. Do you ever think we'll get to the point where we start seeing paid concerts in K-Man for K-Man artists?
Say that again?
Do you think we'll ever get to the point where we start seeing paid concerts for K-Man artists?
Yeah.
All right.
For sure. All right, for example, Cool Out that just happened.
Yeah.
Think about how many...
There's a lot.
Local performers.
There was a fair
and everyone got paid.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think if you look at, Cool Out just happened, James Gary came on.
Live music, yeah.
Live music,
Yes.
where it's like you could see where everyone's performing every week. Sona coming.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you notice, things are starting to get a lot more organized.
There's some steps being taken in the right direction, right?
Yeah. School. So... fine studios like Hopscotch. You have Iron Shore as well.
Iron Shore is opened up, yeah.
So there's a ecosystem.
That's good.
That's
right.
growing and getting more and more organized. So as things become more organized, it's easier for people to support it.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how you're right. It has actually evolved in the past, relatively speaking, past couple of years, and probably a shame for some of our older artists who were pretty much pioneers of the industry, right? Like they were the ones pulling some heavy lifting, yourself included. When there wasn't any infrastructure, there wasn't an ecosystem that was supporting musicians, and maybe that K-Man Musician Hall of Fame is one thing we have to see.
Yeah, for
one
example,
day down the road.
So it's like I've been like helping a lot of artists, like for example, like the genre of soca, right? If you look at it, all the other islands, Trinidad is like the main soca hub.
Sure.
Then you have Barbados. But then the last few years, there's been a wave of small island soca. Small island soca is bigger than Trinidad soca right now, right?
Yeah.
So Cayman is considered a small island, right?
Sure, yeah.
And if you go to all these other carnivals, most of them, I've been to a few, beside Jamaica, because like they have reggae. But like if you go to all other carnivals, on the road, you hear a lot of their soca.
Their soca being played.
Cayman Carnival, you hear everyone else soca except ours, because we haven't really
tapped that market yet.
Like organized ourselves and
Sure.
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Presented ourselves into that market. So I've been getting more and more people to saying like, okay, this year we got to put out a lot more Cayman soca, because
that'd be awesome. Yeah.
As the outside start to see us become more organized and releasing our own, then people started taking more serious and they started to support it.
Bingo, yeah.
And then it starts being supported outside of the islands, and then on the road, the DJs are forced to play it here too. So now you're hearing more. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, as it becomes more organized and we like deliberately aim to do certain things, then it's easier for people to support it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
No, it's easier for young, older kids, young adults actually get involved, and they can see a pathway that's not just them sitting. You were the guy sitting in your room working on your music, right? it's not as easy for you were disciplined in that regard, right? There's a lot of kids who are not as, and this way it gives them a path they can see a light at the end of the tunnel going, okay, hold on. I'm not just going to be sitting in my room just mixing until one day I figure it out. There's schools, there's SONA, there's the parents can actually say, okay, hold on. What do I want for my child? How do I make this happen for them?
Yeah.
As a dad myself, that's what my head is at as a father of an artist, right? But from their standpoint, they can actually sit around and actually figure out their own music, whether it's soca now and creating those pathways. And I think it's very cool if we could actually hear our own soca being played.
Yeah, because
during our big events, right?
For example, as a young Cayman artist myself, like I remember being younger. I used to look to the US.
I remember being younger. We all remember being younger, brother.
I used to look, all right, I want to be Jay-Z. I want to tour the world. You know, I looked at that as the example of what I wanted to be, right?
Sure.
But if you look within, just next door, Cass, Second Star, Marsha Montano. Think of like all the soca artists.
Yeah.
Nala Blackman. These people are, like, for example, soca has its own ecosystem, right? Where it's like there's a carnival everywhere.
Yeah.
These
There's
people are touring the world. So there are kids like in Trinidad that they're looking at it like, okay, I want to be a soca artist, right? And it's a way easier because it's right here, right?
It's right there. It's right there.
It's literally right there.
Yeah.
So a kid can tour the entire Caribbean, the entire world
by getting involved in it right on their shores.
In a genre that's just
right in your shores. And that's where like, I look at what you're doing with soca, and I think you're on the right track when you're looking at that. It's a gap, and you're plugging that gap with. We have kids here, we have artists here who want to do this genre music, but they just don't have that oomph that you're creating.
Yeah, it all boils down to just like understanding. Like I said, it's like creating the music is cool. It's about like creativity, right?
Yep.
But it's like also understanding the business side of it and like being organized to like, it's like if you want to be an accountant, you know you have to go to college for 4 years, get a 4-year degree.
Yes.
You know you need to do a CPA.
There's a clear pathway laid out.
There's a clear pathway.
Yes.
So it's like music it's the same thing, understanding the pathway.
And you're laying down that foot trail for us to actually follow it.
Yeah.
Jason, I love it, man. On that note, we're going to go to our 1:30 commercial break. When we come back, we'll be hearing Fade Away. Back with more talk today, right after this.
Jingle all the way into the season of incredible savings and wish granting with Digicel. This Christmas, get 25% off your Prime Bundle plan or postpaid bill for the next 6 months. With plans featuring social data, entertainment data, and more, Digicel keeps you connected and entertained all season long. But here's the real magic. Digicel could make your Christmas wish come true. Win a prize of your choice, from getting your rent paid to a new laptop or even a brand new car. Visit a Digicel store today, where dreams come true this holiday season.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles until December 31st, 2023. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Are you a Caymanian interested in a career in the TVET sector? The Ministry of Education is now offering grants to fund short-term TVET courses at registered local institutions. Whether you're looking to upskill, transition to a new career, or find employment, this grant is for you. To learn more and apply, visit www.moescholarship.gov.ky. Invest in your future with a local TVET grant today. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education.
Tell me how it feels to fade away. Got you on my mind every night and day. You break my mind, so I stay awake. So I sit and bake at the side of a lake, at the side of your face.
For every day and every night, you take my heart away. Thought I was your knight in shining armor, but you were just a charm I'd fade away.
Ryan played hockey together. And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Ray Singh, and that was the song Fade Away, one of the hit songs produced during the Hopscotch Studios summer camp run by none other than Jason Gilbert, who I have in the studio right now. Jason, again, kudos to you for some of the work. That song, like, you could hear that song, and there's such a level of... Now, who was actually performing in that song just now?
Elijah, Ryan, and...
Don't worry, at our age, thinking back to last summer can be tricky. Don't worry, I hear you.
I need to hear her sing.
we forget stuff. That's what happens, right? Apparently it gets worse as we get older.
I know.
So they keep saying, right?
So,
hoping it doesn't happen just yet. But yeah, so that was the Fade Away song. And I remember seeing Ryan on stage. And I look back at and one of the reasons that stuck out this camp as well is, I remember my son played hockey with Ryan previously, and not that Ryan was a shy kid, he's always had an energy, but I remember seeing Ryan play piano in the Cayman Arts Festival because my son played guitar right adjacent to him, and then I saw him in your camp, and then I saw him perform on stage, and I saw this young man just completely start belting out his lyrics, and I loved it, man. Not that Ryan was a shy boy, but to see someone who was relatively timid go up on stage and completely just let loose in that regard, I loved it. You know, as a dad seeing another kid do it, it was such a cool experience.
Yeah, man. Ryan's a very talented kid. I think he did choir as well. So
well-rounded.
Writing songs is very easy for him.
I can imagine that.
Like once you gave him just the fearing to just come up with whatever he had, he got behind the keys and
yeah. You know, it's a funny story.
She's right at home. Because
my son, I thought it was a funny story, but he was in a math class or a science class, and he had to write a science project, and they had to express it via some form of art medium, and he chose a rap song to do it, and he wrote a full-on rap.
Ryan?
No, my son did.
Oh.
And I went, my son wrote a rap song. This is kind of, and then when I heard it, I was like, hold on a second, that's actually kind of a cool song. You're teaching science through rap, and I'm like, that's actually kind of, but then when I think about where he got the skills to write a rap song, I know exactly where it came from. He went right back to what you had taught them in the camp, right? And was using the same counts. He was using the same kind of format of how to kind of break down his pattern. And I loved seeing it, man. So to see how it progressed into like developing into a school format, like all those kids left that camp when they started school 10 times more confident than they would have been.
Yeah.
Because they had performed 2 concerts, written a song, met new peers. And that's why when I read about your music school being open, I was like, this is the type of thing that Cayman is so in desperate need of, right? This level of energy. And now seeing, because I think you're right. I think you're on the right track with saying that we are getting more organized. And that to see that develop now, man, I think you're actually starting something that's going to be the start of something very, very big down the road.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I was thinking of how being back in Cayman, how could I, use what I've learned over the years to get this far, to contribute back into the music industry.
Sure.
And after doing the summer camp, for me, I realized for myself, teaching was the best way I could do that, and teaching kids especially because, they have that like raw approach.
Sure.
They haven't been like, like sometimes the music industry, just can taint you if you don't know what you're doing. You know what I
Actually,
mean?
they know nothing yet. They're a blank canvas, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you make a lot of I made so many mistakes because I just didn't know. I kind of just had to figure it out, right?
Yeah, of course.
So I feel like going back now and teaching someone who's just getting into it, a more organized path.
Yeah, of course. I
could help a lot.
Help a huge amount. So when we talk about your school, so you mentioned it's going to be an after-school program. Is it running 5 days a week? Or is it you mentioned partial Zoom, partial in person?
Yeah, so Group A, which is ages 11 to 14,
yep.
is on Wednesdays.
Okay.
From 4 to 5 via Zoom. And then Group B, Thursdays, same time.
Same time.
And then the last two weeks of the month is Wednesday for Group A and Saturday morning from 9 to 12.
Sure.
And then Group B is Thursday and Saturday afternoon.
Okay, so it's a bit of a split
5.
schedule. So first 2 weeks, they operate on 1 day a week kind of Zoom schedule. And then latter 2 weeks, twice.
Yeah, and that's all in studio.
And that's the in-studio portion.
Yeah.
Okay. And then do you run it in month-long blocks? So if people want to register, they can't do this month, they can do the next month kind of thing? Or is it, how does that structure, is it?
Well, it's structured along with the school year.
Okay.
With the government school term.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Okay. So once you're in the program, you're in it for the entire duration of the school year?
Yeah.
Okay. And so this kind of trial year of the program, 12 kids, is what you're saying, you're like 12 kids per group?
6 kids per group.
6, sorry.
Just being in the studio, I find, more than 6 people at a
yeah,
time.
Yeah, a little too claustrophobic.
Yeah, and it's like, even writing songs, like, I was signed to Sony for a long time, and my job was we just write songs, and you write songs in groups. Usually like groups of like 4 or 5 people.
Sure.
We do, so I think 6 is a good number for everyone to get the attention and,
Yeah. All right. So I'm just getting an idea. Now, what are your kind of goals for and I know it's still early days. You're still in the early days. You're just coming off the success of the first camp. First time you're running the school now off that. What are your goals for the future of this program, whether it be in the summer, whether it be into next year? Do you have any kind of long-term goals of where you see the program growing to?
Yeah. So, like I said, it runs with the school year. So we'll break for the summer, which we'll do the summer camp as well.
Sure.
I do summer camp every year. And I look at it like karate in a sense. Your kid starts off white belt, yellow belt. You just kind of keep going.
Yeah.
So I do like high school kids, so you can start from age 11 all the way through high school. And like I have one kid now who's provisionally accepted to Full Sail. So this is like a good precursor.
Before they head off, yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. Fantastic.
For someone wanting to go to like Full Sail.
I guess when you start thinking about like music scholarships and those 9 yards, I mean, this is just like an extra oomph on that resume for school applications, right?
Yeah, and I think music for me and why this program like is definitely something I wanted to do. Music for me, especially personally, was a great way for me to express myself, right? Sure. And it kept me out of a lot of like, because it's so demanding on your attention in a sense that like every chance I got, like you see Phoenix, for example. Every chance he gets, he's on his guitar, he's writing a new song.
He's working on a new song, he's working on Lego. It's some way of expressing himself. Now his new thing is building Lego robots. And I sit there and go, I don't get it. How are you doing this? Because I don't understand. But yeah, because it sucks up so much energy and time.
Exactly. So it's like you get a way to express yourself. And so you really don't have...
No time to get in trouble.
Yeah,
say it all.
Yeah,
That's the truth.
I'm trying to find
the easiest way to say it.
The easiest way to say it. Yeah, you don't have time to get into trouble because
it's the truth.
It's just like I said. Like I've been doing it for so long. Started at 13. I don't want to say how old I am, but
we're in the same ballpark. It's all good.
A couple decades now,
Yeah,
and I
a couple
still
decades.
get up in the morning. Like I just wrote a song this morning. I started writing a piece this morning that I'm excited to go finish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
So
it takes away that. You're absolutely right. It's sports and music are those two avenues that I think. It's like I used to remember there was it might have been late high school or early college, like the DJs, right? Like you think that DJs were the guys who are going, they're not. The DJs weren't getting in any trouble. They were the ones, because they're constantly they're not the ones out there drinking and doing all. They're the ones just mixing.
You don't have the time to do it.
No, because they mix the music, right? Yeah. It's just one of those scenarios where you're absolutely right. Like if you're involved to that degree and your mental energy is just like absorbed by this project, not only does it create this whole new masterpiece, but your time would have been otherwise occupied in less desirable activities.
Yeah.
And then yes, you find yourself in trouble, right?
That's how better in school too. It's like
you're absolutely correct. It's the better you do in sports and music. Almost you don't find many student athletes who are actually bad in school.
No.
That's a stigma that's always been thrown out there about, oh yeah, those NBA, NCAA basketball players that don't do very good. No, that's actually far from the truth in many, many cases. And for musicians, very much the same, because you're the one just compounds into the other.
Music is math, English.
Yeah.
Everything. And then I read this quote from Quincy Jones. You asked me like the outcome for me. Right now, like I'm the only person I think who won a Grammy from Cayman.
Okay.
And Quincy Jones said, "In anything you're doing, it's cool to be the first, but you can't be the only. Because if you're the only, you're not contributing.
Sure.
In a sense.
You just took it and off you went.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So being the first should be an opportunity for you to open the door to help create more opportunities for others. Right. You know what I'm saying?
You're absolutely true.
So for me, I'm hoping that some of these kids, and I met this one kid from John Gray, because I work at John Gray as well. Like I do, I work with some of the kids down there.
Sure, yeah.
And I met this one kid. Amazing. 16 years old. 15. Amazing musician. He's like a grade 8 violin player.
Wow.
Plays the saxophone as well. He uses FL Studio, like genius.
At 15.
15. And I'm looking at him, I'm just like, man, I hope you go on to win 30 Grammys.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Because, like, I would be so sad. Like, I mean, I hope he does other great things as well, but to be that talented at 15 years old at this skill that you have.
And it's just going to get better, right?
Yeah, I hope he goes on to do the most amazing things musically, you know what I mean?
No.
So for me, that's like one of the outcomes as well, you know?
I think you're absolutely right. I think it's very noble. You see many for athletes when they come on and do that, but to see you doing it for music, and I love it. On that note, let's go to 145 commercial break. When we come back, we'll be hearing Don't Test My Vibe.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
They say variety is the spice of life, and that's why at Subway we're introducing the new boneless hot sub.
Say what?
The premium sub brings new ingredients like spicy breaded boneless chicken, French's crispy fried onions, and buffalo wing sauce, bringing a zesty and flavorful experience with every bite. Add some of your favorite veggies, cheese, and ranch sauce of your choice of freshly baked bread for the ultimate boneless hot sub. For a little spice in your life, try the new boneless hot sub from Subway.
So good and tasty.
And make it a meal with a drink and chips or cookies. Subway. Eat fresh.
You don't sound too good there, Bobo.
Yeah, you know how it is. With the kids back in school, every other week they coming out with something, and then I catch it.
Sound like it catch you. But for real, brother, flu season is here and COVID is still around. You gotta stock up on things like medicine, vitamins, and minerals for you and the kids. You know what they say, prevention is better than cure.
At ValueMed, our pharmacists can help manage flu symptoms and provide guidance on vitamins and minerals to best support you and your family's overall health. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Town, or WhatsApp your questions and prescription refills to ValueMed on Walkers Road at 926-1662 or WhatsApp ValueMed in Town at 916-5511. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Yeah, let's go. Come on. I don't know why, but I feel a little vibe like today's gonna be a good day. Don't know this feeling, but for some reason it makes me wanna party every day. We in the building, everybody looking, we just wanna get a good vibe. Dancing with the girl, them chilling with my friends, we just wanna have a good time.
You know when I woke up in the party, girls tryna swarm me, everybody tryna bossy bop like Stormzy. Please do not record me, I'm just tryna have a good time, hands up in the sky.
Hands up in the sky, why boy why? We've been through this like a million times. I'm just tryna vibe, please don't kill my vibe. I'm up in my tribe, looking hella fun. I don't know why them people tryna put me down.
And welcome back to Talk Today. That was Don't Test My Vibe, one of the other hit songs from last year's Hopscotch Summer Camp with Jason J. Gilbert, who is now launching a new after-school program, which I'm a huge fan of. Personally, I'm a fan of it. That's why I'm really glad you came on the show today, because I think it's such a much-needed avenue.
Thank you.
So who was the artist in Don't Test My Vibe?
Emma, Amber, Jamar, Ethan.
You know, I remember seeing all of because he'd put on a small concert for the parents at the Harco Theater in their smaller venue, and all the kids came out and they performed after the camp was over. And I remember seeing Amber, and Amber is such a talented artist. Amber's one of the kids that came in, and now in Don't Test My Vibe, and just an honestly talented young. She's only what, 14, 15?
I think Amber's 14.
I mean, just an amazingly talented 14-year-old. It's to have that avenue now, where for the next 4 years of high school, she has this musical avenue in what you're creating. I think it's absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
So, so the goal is, I guess, eventually, and we talked about and I like your analogy when, sorry, my chair keeps rocking. I got a new chair. Every time I move, I hear a squeak, squeak. We talk about you being a Grammy Award winner, but if you only won, it means you really didn't do much to foster the creation of the next generation behind you, right?
Exactly.
And we see with athletes, right? So athletes come back, and whether they become coaches within the sport they were an athlete in before, we see it like, for example, Colin Anglin, right? Became the director. He's the director of, or the president of CU now. He's a former basketball player for a K-Man, right? We see all these athletes who kind of come back and they give back to the sport and they grow the next generation of athletes coming up. That's what you're doing for music right now, and it hasn't been done yet. Hasn't really been done that I've seen in this level where we see now the ecosystem, the word you used, where we're seeing this creation of an ecosystem where, and I get the benefit as a father of seeing my son grow through this infrastructure now. But I can honestly say, the more kids that get involved in it, that spirals more energy coming up, right?
Exactly.
And that's what we want to see.
Definitely what I want to see, man. Just more great music, more success stories.
Yeah. Will there be a day how long do you think it's going to be until we see a next Grammy Award winner come from K-Man? Is it around the corner?
I think it's around the corner. I've been seeing some great projects coming out, and just now people have, like, for me, when I got into it, you know, I had to travel to LA, all over the place to connect with the right people.
Yeah.
Now it's like, you can do this via Zoom. So there's, no, really,
It's truth, but it's truth, right?
there's a lot more access and access to information. People are understanding the business side more.
Yeah.
You know, with all these things happening, like I said, Cool Out just had the music business seminars. and
That's
stuff
right.
like
That seminars, the songwriting seminars as well that were in there.
Exactly.
They had
So
a lot, yeah.
it's like sometimes you're just missing one key part of the information or one key connection.
Yeah.
To, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's the truth, right?
So I see it a lot more happening because Cayman, I feel we have a very unique, like creatively. I don't know if it's because of where we are and like we're influenced by the U.S. We're influenced by so many different things.
Sure. That
creatively we're like a melting. We have like this melting pot sound where it's like, if you grew up playing music here, you can almost like create any style.
Yeah.
In a sense.
It's true. There's so many genres of music that are ever present in Cayman, right?
Yeah.
We might have our kitchen bands or our soca or our reggae or some element of a Caribbean mixing pot of music, but we have so much country still coming through the pipeline. We have so much, even heavy metal, coming through the pipeline,
Everything.
right? And there's gonna be so much, and
it's like nowadays that's almost an advantage because music is now like this like combination of like pop music today.
Yeah.
What is pop music?
It's just one massive melting pot of music, right?
Exactly. Afro beats, country, hip hop, and it's like hip hop will be mixed with country.
It's true. It's the truth. It's the truth. It's absolutely the truth.
So Cayman creatives, like, I think we're very unique in that we can do so many different genres.
Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely correct. I think the genres, and then there's the technology side of music, right? And that's where you're bringing that element to the camp as well, where you're teaching them how to mix and how to create their own actual music from the files itself.
Even just the Zoom part of it. Like, during COVID, most of my songwriting sessions were via Zoom. We were creating full-fledged songs via Zoom. So I think even that part of it is cool as well to just, you know what I mean? Because a kid can sit and came out. For example, this kid, like a few years back, Young Fusion. Young Fusion has a song with over 100 million streams on YouTube. How? Wow. He sat in his bedroom in Bordentown, collaborated with this kid like somewhere in Europe, and the song became a massive like online hit. They never met in person.
Never met in person, and created that massive. That's what it takes, right?
Exactly. You know what I mean? So I think there's going to be a lot more of that, and the course. I'll give kids I would say like a formula of basics, like of how to create. What's the word I'm looking for? How to create commercial music. Because that's what I do.
That's what you're doing. Yeah, you're bringing the commercial element to this conversation of music. Schools do the academic portion of it. They're grading them for, did you hit the right notes correctly?
Yeah.
Right? The schools are bringing the academics part of it. Churches bring a certain element to the choir and the other elements of community song. You're bringing the business element to the conversation.
Yeah, and then like how to make commercial music, how to create music that makes you money.
Yeah. Which many musicians ultimately want to do.
I mean, if you want to do it full time.
Yeah. Which is a whole business itself. And if I think if I asked my son, he would probably say, yeah, I want to play music. He doesn't want to go to school, I can tell you that. He doesn't want to go to school.
Well, that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Too, you know what I mean?
He wants to play music.
I have a master's degree in finance, which helps me a lot.
I had no idea, really.
Huh?
You have a master's in finance.
I have a master's degree in finance.
I had no idea.
Soon to be a lawyer as well. So all of these things helped me.
Wow. Congratulations, man.
Yeah, all of these things helped me just Because, like I said, it's not just the music.
That's inspiring to hear what you just said of knowing your background in music, to find out you have a master's in finance and now soon to be a lawyer. That level of ambition, right?
But it's all part of it.
It's all together. It's all united.
It's all together. You know what I mean? It all goes hand in hand. If you make money off music, I see so many success stories turn to, like, you know, people. Think about it. You're just a creative, right? And you got a hit record. Someone signs you to a publishing deal for $1 million. You got $1 million in your hand. What do you do with it?
Unfortunately, many blow it.
Many do.
Yeah, that's the problem, right?
You know what I'm saying? So there's other sides of it too that is important to have some sustainability.
Yeah, you need that well-rounded approach. And what kind of law are you looking at?
Entertainment law.
Entertainment law.
Yeah.
Which I think that's, given the development of our music scene here, that's the next type of lawyer we need to see, right?
Yeah, it's all like I said, it's all a part of it. And I love music. I love the music business. I love entertainment. So it's like I just keep finding ways to continue to grow. Because it's like music is one part of it, but it's the music business. There's so many. So a song, right? One song, if you look at it, you have a songwriter, someone who wrote the song. In most cases, it's not just one person, right? You have a group of people who wrote the song. Look at any hit song and read the credits. Songwriters. There are probably like 4 or 5 songwriters on there, right?
Yeah.
You're in a time. Oh.
No, you're good. No, you're good.
Someone produced the record.
Yeah.
That's a separate job.
Separate job.
Someone had to mix the record. Someone had to record the record. Someone had to master the record. And that's just creating the actual master, which is the song, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And then from that point, you have people who promote the record.
Promote and build it up, yeah.
People who shoot music videos.
Yeah.
Lawyers who then had to create a contract so that everyone knows their part.
It's good. It's interesting to hear like that, the various legs of
There's so many legs of it.
Because it's important. Cause people think that, they just got to be performing on stage. But the reality is, this is an industry no different than any other industry. There's many moving parts, and they all come together. And all of them get paid.
Cool out. The big thing this year was music and finance.
Yes, that's right.
Right.
I remember the itinerary that came out.
And you're thinking about, what does music have to do with finance?
And that's exactly what it has to do with it, right?
Well, all these hedge fund people, they're buying music catalogs. Like, you know what I'm saying? So there's so many pieces that come together. It is a industry like every other industry.
It is. Okay, stick with us. On that note, let's go to our 2 p.m. headline news. When we come back, I think I still Jason for another 15 minutes. Okay. More talk today right after this.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
I'm Jevi Ebanks with a look at your headlines. On January 18th, the University College of the Cayman Islands will host the Ormond Panton inaugural lecture at the Sir Vassal Johnson Hall. Organizers say in this inspiring inaugural lecture series, they will celebrate the extraordinary legacy of Mr. Ormond L. Panton, who died in 1992. The lecture is free to the public, but registration is required, and the lectures give the public the opportunity to learn about Mr. Panton's profound impact on our political landscape and to gain valuable insights into his vision for our nation's future. The event starts at 6 p.m. and the link for the registration can be found on the UCCI social media accounts. In regional news, a Trinidadian businesswoman who last week had been snatched by abductors wearing what resembled police uniforms and bundled into a heavily tinted vehicle has been found alive, the Hunters Search and Rescue Team has reported. A relative of the businesswoman has confirmed that she was found alive, but has given no details, while a senior police officer is quoted by a local publication as saying that Nareen Budhu was being treated by doctors, but also declined to give any comment. The woman, a mother of 2 teenage girls, was kidnapped last Friday in front of her business in El Sirocco, San Juan, on the outskirts of the capital, by men in a black SUV with flashing lights. It is not known whether any ransom had been made for her release. Police earlier said that they found the vehicle used in the abduction of the businesswoman burnt in central Trinidad. Jamaica is reporting a 7.8% decline in murders in 2023 as compared with previous years, with figures showing that there was 1,393 murders last year. The figure is 118 fewer when compared to the 1,511 people killed in 2022. According to the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the parish of St. James recorded the most killings, as it had been the case in 2022, with 187 murders recorded as compared with 200 the previous year. The other areas recording significant killings were St. Andrew South with 123 as against 133 the previous year, St. Catherine North with 120 murders as against 147 the previous year, Westmoreland with 117 killings last year as compared with 144 in 2022. That's a look at your headlines. I'm Jevi Ebanks.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Listening to the general public.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Because
There are more questions than answers.
waiting to take your calls right now.
What the public is saying.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Ray Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. Again, phone lines are open 949-6990. We are in studio with Mr. Jason J.G. Gilbert. No stranger to Cayman's music scene, no stranger to the radio. We heard throughout this episode today 3 of the songs that came out of last year's summer camp. Kids in Cayman, Fade Away, Don't Test My Vibe. And to be fair, all 3 songs potentially hit on the radio here in Cayman. And you should be proud of yourself, Jason. I mean that sincerely.
Proud of the kids.
It's that work, that collective effort, and even the parents that are showing up and bringing them, it's that community spirit that you want to see. And so, Jason, you mentioned the goals for the program, and you're involved in John Gray teaching. But what I didn't realize is that you actually helped create some of the studio space. And
yeah, they had the actual space there already, but I helped them. I donated some equipment. I helped them set it up, and there are kids in there like from before school starts, man. There's like a actual crew of them. They go there every morning, every lunchtime, every break time.
Is the school supportive, like putting on like concerts for them or creating venues for them to perform their music? Or is that not something that really can fit in the school time?
I need to talk to them about that.
All right, because I'd love to find out like where the level of this. One is one thing of creating space, another two it being like creating venues for it and space to play for the students and perform for the students. It's almost easier to play for a group of strangers than to play for your peers in school. Right?
It's true.
Like it's like play with strangers, like, oh yeah, if I make a mistake, no big deal. Play for your peers, you gotta see them the next day, right?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
But that level of confidence, once you do it, is through the roof. I remember the first time I performed for a group of peers in a play. I was terrified. Absolutely, I was high school. Terrified for that very same reason. And it went off very well. And the next day I was like, all right, this is a good feeling. I'm walking to school like I'm not, it feels good. Could have gone the other way, which is what my head was at, right? If it goes bad. But no, I mean, it's actually really cool to see like the robust development. We had a Jubilati here last week, and they were talking about like their program, which is a great program. It's free for students. They have like 90 kids involved in this after school program they do. But they have a huge fundraising effort to raise the money for the instruments, and it's orchestra instruments for kids.
Wow.
And it's for kids who otherwise wouldn't get involved in these types of activities, social issues where they maybe have anxiety or they struggle in social situations. And so they've created this program for this element. And to see like programs like that, programs like yours that are coming through, theirs is only about 7 years old, right? Yours is coming off of year 1, or coming into year 1 rather. And to see like we have Cayman Arts Festival, another big program which looks at youth programs, Think of obviously the schools that are doing their programs as well, right? But to see these different avenues being created for more student musicians, that's great, man. You're laying the platform. You're laying the framework. It's cool. You're laying the framework right now for it to happen. So, for those parents out there that may want to get involved in some of your programs, how can they get a hold of you? What's the general premise behind Hopscotch?
All the information is on www.jgrecordingschool.com, or you can email me at jgrecordingschool@gmail.com.
All right.
And all the in-studio stuff will be hosted at Hopscotch. We have the summer camp coming Hopscotch summer camp coming up as well.
Okay.
In the summer.
Okay, so right now, remind us again the format that you're doing, because just for listeners who may not have heard the beginning of the show, what is the format again for the after-school program?
It runs along with the school year, the government school terms.
Sorry, I meant as far as the blocks for 6 kids in each block.
Oh yeah, right now I'm doing 2 groups of 6, so ages 11 to 14, Group A, which is on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and ages 15 to 17 for Group B.
Okay.
Thursdays and Saturdays.
Thursdays and Saturdays. So the first part, again, for those who may have missed it, was going to be a Zoom educational format session where you have other members from the U.S. or other jurisdictions who are involved in the music business coming in and teaching. And so what are they going to be teaching as far as the music element goes?
Just further helping me is, I guess, so for example, it depends on the topic that we're on. I'll bring in someone who I know, for example, chords.
Okay. So if it's about songwriting, you're bring help a songwriter in.
Yeah.
If it's about the production side, you're bring a production side guy.
Exactly.
Okay.
Mixing.
Okay.
Music business. I'll bring an attorney in to help me.
That's one I gotta get on.
Huh?
I gotta get on that Zoom call.
And it's all simplified. I've come up with a pretty simplified formula.
I like it. I mean, it's such a. The reality is, it's not that it's not simple. It's not easy, but this was a very manageable thing to kind of set up and help create it, right?
Yeah.
And to see that you're doing it, I love it. I love how it needs to get done, and you saw an opportunity. You went, this is gonna happen. Let's get it done. I love it. The as far as and before the break, you had briefly touched on the business side of this game, and that you're in it for you're trying to teach the commercial side of the music business.
Yeah.
To create commercial music. Where do you see, for parents out there whose kids are going off to school, etc., where are the avenues to learn about all those different elements of the music? Because there is so much in it. And until you actually just now said, like, there's someone who produced it, someone who laid down this, someone who, the attorneys, the finance guys, you mentioned hedge fund now getting involved in music. As a parent, how do you begin to navigate this for your teenager who's going off to school? Like, what are you looking at? And that's a broad question, but is there any information you can offer on what parents should be looking out for? I know it's a very broad question, but if my son wants to go off and learn how to be a music attorney or learn about the game of finance and music, how do you begin to learn about that? Because that's a broad category, and that's a broad question I'm throwing at you.
Well, I think the school is a good place to start, right? Because I'll be teaching like the basics of all these areas, right? And some kids may gravitate more towards, I want to be a mixing engineer, or I want to be an attorney, or I want to be a songwriter. Because even though I'm teaching kids all of these parts, some kids may find that they have strengths.
Okay, fair enough.
In certain areas.
Sure.
And this will help to identify those strengths as well, right? Because, I mean, in the music business, like I said, if you look at most of the commercially successful songs, it's a lot of times it's never just one person.
No, there's a whole album of lists of.
Yeah, there's a lot of hands went into it to get it to.
It's interesting. I'm trying to wrap my head around how we see that develop, that whole infrastructure develop in Cayman, the same way we have a whole legal infrastructure, or we have a whole hedge fund infrastructure, right? Where do you see the whole music infrastructure? Eventually, I know we're at this right now in the infancy of it right now. We're seeing it happen in real time. I'm trying to envision what the whole infrastructure looks like one day, right? It's a lot.
It's a lot, and Cayman is in a very unique place, man. It's like now you have direct flights to LA, everywhere to make music, right? Like all the major hubs, and Cayman is an attractive place, I think, for the music business to be a hub.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, for a lot of various reasons.
True, very true. Like between the cultures that are intermixed here, proximity to U.S., Latin America, Barbados now, the rest of Jamaica right there, another big hub for music.
Exactly.
I think you're right. Like there's so much that can be. It's actually, I will say, seeing it now where it is now, I'm very curious to see how it continues to
Me too. And I'm happy to be a part of it and to contribute, in the best ways I know how. And I just want to see it grow because, like I said, when I started this thing, I had to go off to try to figure it out.
Yeah.
And
what were you saying? You'd be in your room in high school and you were sitting there trying to figure out how to make this music happen, right?
Yeah, try to think simple stuff. I remember, you'd see stuff on TV, and you'll see, for example, Pharrell. He's one of our musical heroes. You'll see him in the studio. You see all this stuff around. He's like, okay, you assume he's using all of those things to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you think you need to get all this stuff.
Yeah.
You had no idea. Thankfully enough, I met Charles Gregory from Hopscotch.
Yep.
Who was, my key mentor, who had, his group, Memory of Justice, had some success musically.
Yep.
And came out internationally as well. And I had someone to show me, narrow the path down.
Sure.
You see, just because you want to make music, but you have no idea.
It's just one wild west. You don't know what to do, right? You don't know where do you start planting your seeds?
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I met Greg, who I lived right down the street from Hopscotch. I used to be this annoying kid. And one day he let me in, and I couldn't get rid of me after that, right? But yeah, from there I had someone to kind of then narrow it down for me. Okay, you need a drum machine, you need a keyboard, you need to learn how to write songs, and then as a kid hearing a song with no formal training at all, you just hear this completed thing. You don't know what elements went in.
No, of course.
To creating this thing.
I love it.
Yeah.
From annoying kid to Grammy Award winner. I love it. That's a story right there. The annoying kid who wouldn't leave him alone. Who kept knocking on the door. Can I come in now? Can I come in and play?
Blessings to Charles Gregory, man.
No, I appreciate you saying so. And again, it's Jason. I appreciate you coming on. Kudos to you for what you did last year as a summer camp. As a dad, I was very impressed with what my son was able to come away with. Smiling at the end of a camp, I love it. It was great. And I genuinely mean this. I mean, there's a lot of kids in Cayman who can benefit from the work you're doing, and it's just going to compound. So no matter what happens, just keep on doing it, brother.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
All right, on that note, we're going to go to our 2:15 break. When we get back, a little more talk today right after this.
Are you planning a social, an office party, or event over the holiday season? Make the most of your holiday party and leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway Box to Go with the option of a 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. Cater your holiday parties with Subway. Visit subway.ky for menu options. Subway, eat fresh.
Jingle all the way into the season of incredible savings and wish granting with Digicel. This Christmas, get 25% off your Prime Bundle plan or postpaid bill for the next 6 months. With plans featuring social data, entertainment data, and more, Digicel keeps you connected and entertained all season long. But here's the real magic. Digicel could make your Christmas wish come true. Win a prize of your choice, from getting your rent paid to a new laptop or even a brand new car. Visit a Digicel store today, where dreams come true this holiday season.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles until December 31st, 2023. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
And this is Ray Singh filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and big appreciation again to Jason J.G. Gilbert, who was just here in studio with me. Again, in case you can tell, I'm a big fan of the work that Jason's done with kids here in Cayman with music, and knowing his background, and now hearing that he's going to be he's working on becoming an attorney in the entertainment industry. I just think there's so much potential that his program, along with programs like Jubilati and Cayman Arts Festival, and the programs that the schools are doing as well. There's just so much out there that's going on for music right now that I think Jason made some great points that the better organization for these programs. Just got the list that James Gary puts together every week of all the live entertainment. That's available at Cayman Live Music on Facebook. A great list shows all the venues, the artists that are playing, hearing about Sona being here now, and what they bring to the table as far as the education and the legal element for helping protect songwriters out there. Again, I give kudos to Jason Gilbert over at Hopscotch Studios and his jgrecordingschool.com is where you can find all the information on that. And we played through the songs today that were actually produced by the kids in his camp last year. Kids in Cayman, Fade Away, and Don't Test My Vibe. So again, I'll be hosting Talk Today all week this week. Tomorrow we're excited to have on the studio the conversation about blood doping, and how they are looking to protect against that in Cayman. And then we have Mr. Matt Brown joining us for the latter part of tomorrow's show, and just talk about how we can fix all the world's problems all in one shot in 1 hour segment on Talk Today. That's tomorrow. On that note, without any calls coming in, we're going to call it a wrap for today's show. I just want to give a shout out and thank you to all of our listeners out there in Radio Cayman Nation. Ms. Jodi-Ann Powery from the RCIPS, Mr. Jason Gilbert, and of course to Miss Susan Watson in the studio. On behalf of the entire Radio Cayman family, again, a very happy new year. All the best for 2024. I'm Ray Singh, and God bless.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Radio Cayman.
The voice.
The heart.
The soul.